Welcome to Flyover Conservative Podcast with David and Stacy Whited, where we break down current events and examine culture through the lens of conservative Christian values.
It is very easy to be in an echo chamber in today's world because you kind of curate who's around you. But you can, more than ever before, you don't turn on the TV. Everybody kind of watches the news program. The next day, people hash it out and talk about it. You could have a massive amount of information. You could go on a deep dive on an issue, talk to a friend at work the next day, and they have done a deep dive on the same issue, completely different sources, and you come to completely different opinions. And it's like there's a certain amount of human processing where you say, okay, this is a good thing, this is a bad thing. But you also kind of want confirmation. If you're at a comedy club, they jam you close together. I'm happy he's there because there's something about when somebody says something funny, you laugh, but you kind of look to your friend and they're laughing, and then your laughter goes up another
You're
notch.
like, you think it's funny too?
It's like this humor confirmation. It's like, oh, that's funny. You look at it like, oh yeah, that's, and then it magnifies. But you sort of need that. You too. Well, what do other people think for real? Not what do newscasters tell you this is true. What's going on? Like, what do other people think? Well, there's thing out there called polls. We've used them for years to kind of find out what's the general population, where they at on an issue. And we've lost a lot of trust in that space because they've been manipulated and slanted, and they maybe only poll certain pockets of and it's like, do we even trust the polls? Well, someone's proved to be right over and over and over, because while every human, if you have a pulse, you're biased, but polls should not be, and they go to great lengths to find honest information so you actually know. The GPS says I'm here, this is my destination, it's 400 miles away. Like, they want to know the truth regardless of how you feel. I feel like I wish I was at my destination, but I want to know how far I really need to go. Today's guest, friend of the show, we've had him on many times. He's a professional question asker. He has based opinions, unbiased opinions and facts. Goes on Twitter by the handle Honest Pollster, and I think that's true. His background ranges from nuclear submarines to understanding the pulse of what Americans really think and what's happening in upcoming elections, and maybe even what flavor of ice cream actually is the number one most popular in America. And I am pumped today to talk to Mr. Mark Mitchell.
Yay! Welcome back.
Rasmussen
Great
reports.
to be back.
Great
intro. You even said that I was based. I love it.
Yes.
I'm pretty based.
You are. I want to fill in our listeners, though, because we've had you on before, and I think people kind of lump polls in a category. They're probably all created equal, and whatever. How do you get your information, and what makes your processes unique as a company? How does it actually work?
Yeah, I'll give you a high level. It's actually not that interesting because I know 3 other good pollsters in the industry personally very well, and we all do something kind of different. And so what I think history has taught us, that it really comes back to like the willpower, and that I'm trying to do a good job because I think I have journalistic integrity and a duty to the people who read our stuff. And anyways, like the way it used to work is you just call somebody up on their landline phone, but then people stopped picking up the phone. Then there were regulations, then people got rid of landline phones. We actually helped pioneer the use of robodials because it was making it easier to poll people and, in my opinion, inserted less bias. And we actually still do that for about 30-40% of our sample because I have hundreds of thousands of people that just love picking up the phone and answering. And because of that, though, a lot of people aren't going to get polled by us anymore. It's just reality. And then the others we buy data from online panel aggregators. So these are people that just spend time online answering questions, and they get money or they get discounts or whatever. And it's just data. And if I couldn't get data from there, I would get data from somewhere else with vendors who might be using text messages or whatever. But it ultimately comes down to, I'm not a party pollster. I'm not trying to get Republicans or Democrats to win. And I don't report up to a multi-billion-dollar media conglomerate that wants to sell advertising revenue from pharmaceutical companies. And so that's it. And there are very few people like me, and we poll more than anyone in the industry. And I'm just trying to really look out for the voters. I kind of tell everybody that I'm basically your only lobbyist, because everybody with $1 million plus has a lobbyist, but the voter does not.
Man, that's so good.
We'll have the link down below, rasmussenreports.com. It's a great website to go to because you just put it out there. And it's kind of more like a thermostat on your wall. It's like it says it's 72. Well, I wish it was 68. Well, it's not. It's 72. That's what it is.
Yeah,
and so you kind of just got to deal with what is, and you put out what is, and it's not Republican, it's not Democrat. It really is just, this is kind of where this is trending, and it's maybe, people's opinion on Trump or this, that, and your opinion might be here, and your cousin might be somewhere else. But like, this is kind of where America is on a certain issue. Question I have is the people that you're polling, they're giving their opinion, what they as an individual feel, when you see something, let me give you an example. When Joe Rogan wasn't going with Fauci's plan for COVID, and CNN was trying to be the hammer to enforce the Biden regime, and they were basically the marketing arm for the COVID protocol, and he was going with a different one. He's like, I'm healthy, I'm going to go this route. And he crushed it. He kind of had a bad weekend, I think, and did well. But they put out these pictures of him, and they manipulated the image to make him look worse than he really did. And there's a lot of blowback on that. I think that was kind of a bit of awakening of like, they're not just giving us information in a way that has an agenda. They're even manipulating what we see. And that has gone to another level recently with the death and the shooting of Alex Preddy. When you look at this picture that was put out by mainstream media, it wasn't slightly edited like the color of the face of Joe Rogan. They actually changed this guy's appearance like you would on a dating app. They gave him a tan. They changed his nose. They changed
even the length of his face.
Widen his face.
His jawline looks a little more masculine, a little more handsome. Everything they did enhanced his favorability. If you see him, you would trust the enhanced version more than the one on the left. He's more believable. He's more handsome. You have a natural, more sympathetic view for the guy.
Wow.
And so it's that wasn't like, they just changed the color. They actually photoshopped to make him look like a more sympathetic figure that people would rally towards. So it's not even just that the storylines, they're editing the image. So the people that you're talking to, and they're giving an opinion, how do we trust even the opinions of Americans when what they see? If one person sees the guy on the left and one on the right, you just think different of the guy. You might ask for directions from the guy on the right more than you would the one on the left, or you might, it's a different person they're showing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how awake your audience is, but we live in this global homo kleptocratic, matrix essentially, where uniparty system of people are using every lever in order to control basically the American middle class, who is the taxpayer donkey that funds all of the world deadbeats. I mean, literally, we fund every freaking continent, and they use everything. All of this gaslighting, and I'm the one person that actually will go out and measure and ask people things on questions that are verboten, because literally not a single person, for instance, asked any questions about the vaccine efficacy or safety. They just didn't at all, like not a single person. And then along with that was the election integrity issue of the 2020 election. Nobody asked about that. Nobody asked if the election was stolen or not. And we did, and then we got put on the CIA watch list that was sent to Twitter, and they were going to try and take down our account. We were number 42 on the Global Engagement Center's list of top 50. And all I did was just ask questions. So they will use any tool, and polling can do this too. I mean, that thing with Rogan where they did his face, it was very, very, everybody saw it. It was pretty symbolic of the depths that they will sink to in this war against basically freedom. And, polling can do that too. We had some very, very, very mind-blowing polling come out about the same period. I think it was January of 2022, where we asked Americans a whole lot of questions about, well, would you support A, B, C, D, E, or F for going after the unvaccinated? And Democrats overwhelmingly wanted to throw people who question the efficacy of vaccines in jail. They wanted to give them a tracking app. They wanted to put them in like COVID concentration camps. They even I think it was over 40% of Democrats. It was almost 40%. Wanted to take the children of unvaccinated people away. And that was shocking, and the kind of thing we can do, because the gaslighting, Americans might not know the finer points of like social safety net policy, but they're fundamentally smart with a lot of these things and can see through the gaslighting. And we got up to 66% of all U.S. likely voters thought it was at least somewhat likely that the outcome of 2020 was affected by cheating. And that's when there was this nationwide moratorium of any election integrity news at all. It was the big lie. No court had ever heard any evidence, and yet somehow people found out. And so that's why, this matrix is falling apart. People are waking up and unplugging and questioning not even just the government, but the systems, the fundamental institutions and values that we've built our society on. They're falling apart. It's all coming to a crash right now. And I think we can all feel it because all of these measurements that I have about civil war and political violence and frustration with the future and a lack of optimism, they're all just continuously ticking up. So we're in the pot of water. The temperature is increasing. The frog is still in it. Donald Trump was supposed to be the one that shut the stove off or helped the frog out. And I don't know if I think right now we're going to look back and say, well, he's the person certainly that made us all understand that the frog is in a pot of water on the stove. Like, I think we know that now, right? But it's like, we're still in it. I mean, I think that's objectively the case right now.
Can I ask you a question, Mark? Do you have any polls on people trusting media? Like, how many people trust media versus not trusting media, or their sources for information? What does that look like?
Yeah, we don't do the Gallup thing where we ask a very sterile question and just track the same question over and over over the spectrum of time. Gallup's done a good job, and I think their last number with the number of people who at least somewhat trust the media was in the teens. We like to get a little more sensational, and so we proved that 60% of America not only doesn't trust the media, they thought that the media was the enemy of the people.
Wow.
And so I think that fundamentally shows the level of frustration and anger and, the number of people who are like, something's not right. Like,
do you think that
you can ask
is that in their chamber, though? Like, do
media?
Democrats think Fox News is the enemy of the people, and then conservatives think CNN's the enemy of the people and MSNBC, or is it media?
Well, there's actually a decent amount of Democrats who think the media is the enemy of the people too, and they're obviously thinking about Fox and other types of people like that. Now, I don't have those numbers broken down by major news media channel followership, but we have done that work. We have asked people, do you watch, which brand do you trust most? MSNBC, Fox News, CNN, and we found in that one poll a very, very, very big difference between their issue sets that they care about. For the 2024 election, out of a pick of 4 different issues, the top 2 issues for MSNBC viewers, almost 80% of them, were threats to democracy by far, and then abortion. And then for Fox News and Newsmax viewers, it was the border crisis and rising prices. And so literally the MSNBC people see that answer, threat to democracy. And even though there was a massive inflation crisis, even though Democrats said the economy was their number one issue when you look at the straight issues, they said, no, it's Orange Man bad. And that was like a dividing line. 80% these 2 issues, 80% those 2 issues. So clearly this is one of the fundamental problems that we continue to have, this political divisiveness. Because what's weird is that it's like, okay, you have 30, 40% of the country that's just cooked. They are, their new religion is wokeism. They parrot every Democrat dogma. They think Trump raped everybody. Like that's those people. It's about 60% of Democrats and maybe 30% of independents, right? Then there's about 40% of Democrats who actually like the stuff Trump's doing. They're like, yeah, obviously we should have a wall. Like, yes, deport the illegals. That makes sense. We should do that. And, the problem is that they still vote for the Yankees instead of the Mets because of reasons. And when you have the media that's purposely obfuscating what the real issues are and lying about it, that's how the sleight of hand works. And so these people, again, they want the illegals to go home, but they think the number one issue is threats to democracy. And it's obviously not. Like, that's a fake issue. And it's like, and like part of it is CNN and MSNBC now are losing power, certainly. And that's good, but it's also, I think, probably balkanizing liberals in a way where they're going into deeper echo chambers, the way that the right was doing in 2021, 22. And I don't know how that's going to bear fruit, because To be honest with you, if Trump wanted to control the narrative and he had a little bit more message discipline, he was doing a very good job last January and February. If you think back to that, it was just shock and awe. It was executive order after executive order. It was all these things that Doge was doing. It was shutting down USAID. There was momentum behind it. And you can see the narrative engines at work on the left were just not taking hold at all. They were in complete disarray. And so you can see now it's like nobody goes to MSNBC anymore. It's like ranked like 800 or something in the top websites. And nobody watches that at all on the TV. But they're getting news from like Blue Sky and Reddit and stuff like that now. And push notifications from. But if you go to Reddit, you can see the narratives forming and how they try and reframe everything. This is where the belief, and I think it precedes the stuff that happens on TikTok. This is where the belief that Charlie Kirk was hateful comes from. They enforce narrative control on Reddit and those kind of places. And I only think that that stuff has power when Trump is messing up his core message, and he is doing that a lot now, just in the last 3 or 4 months, and it's horrifying to watch because everybody puts so much trust. This was an existential election, and Trump doesn't even act like he understands that right now in a way that I think is really sort of jeopardizing, like not only the movement, but like fundamental trust in the Republican Party, because Donald Trump's approval rating is not that bad. But the last generic ballot I ran was Democrat +6. And that's the worst that it's been in years. And so the pendulum is swinging back to the Democrats. And it's hard to look at Trump and say, well, it's because the Democrats have a solution to all this stuff. But it's like, no, people are frustrated or demoralized or don't want to turn out or gave the Republicans a chance because of Trump and they're being betrayed or whatever these things are. These feelings are bubbling up now in a way where it's like really like the next year or two kind of decide a lot if you really think about it. Democrats are in such a terrible space. Like all their national leaders are like laughing stocks. You know what I mean? Like Gavin Newsom's really going to run for president when he's probably got $100 billion a year in federal fraud. Like the sheer hubris of that, like in the California budget. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. But a lot's changing really fast, and Trump could pull this out. Like he really could. This, in my opinion, is one of those midterms where the Republicans could overperform, and the bar is so low. But it's like he doesn't even understand why he got elected, in my opinion, just to hear him talk at these press conferences, which he still does day after day. It's like he's still trying to prove to everybody he's not Biden. When everybody's like, we already, we adjudicated that back in November of 2024. Now be the person we need you to be and restore trust in our institutions and give America a future again. And we don't, like, I think objectively, and I don't want to beat up on Trump too much. I'm not doing this because I don't like him. I supported the guy personally for 10 years. But what does the future look like for Republicans and Trump? Like, go ask any Republican elected leader and say, okay, what's the Republican plan to fix our core fundamental problems? And I don't think you're going to hear an answer at all out of any of these people. They're going to say something about traditional conservatism and how we need to vote harder. That's what they're going to say.
What is the response to, say, border? What's going on with ISIS and all of that? Have you guys put out a poll on that? Like, what do people think about ISIS? Because you obviously...
Just ICE.
I'm sorry, ICE. Thank you. Because of what we've seen, over the weekend with all of the protests, what are people's actual reaction? Because one of the major things was the border. So we don't want these people in here.
Yeah.
But what do they feel of ICE?
So this has been one of the things I've been banging the table on most, and it just shows you how profoundly screwed up, like what is happening right now. And so if you want to understand American public opinion, I think the most important thing to understand is that Americans just want fairness. That's fundamentally, it's not they want the Constitution. It's not they want conservatism or liberalism. They just want a system that's fair. And I would use as evidence one of the most popular things we ever polled on. It was a 95% signal, which you never get in polling. How important is it that elected officials are held to the same standard of justice as everyday citizens? And everybody's like, yes, I want that. Right. They need to, like, they don't want two-tiered justice. And so when you have a class of people who can just come here, you take our support structure and, drive drunk on our roads and get paid cash under the table, it's not fair. And so when you ask people how important is it to deport illegal aliens? You're going to get a number north of 60, depending on how you ask it, between 60 and 80%. The criminals, everybody wants the criminal ones going, obviously, but deport all illegal immigrants. We just tested this. This isn't like on the campaign stunt before people saw ICE. We literally just tested it. And I think it was plus 19. It's plus 19 right now, deporting all illegal immigrants. And Donald Trump's underwater 7. So deporting all illegals is 26 net points more popular than Trump right now, even after all this ICE stuff. Mass deportations was like 64% majority a year ago, like over and over again. People want E-Verify by like, I think it was 44 points or something, 58. I don't know. It's up there. It's like 70 something to like massive signal. Like people would not want E-Verify if they fundamentally didn't want illegal aliens gone. But the signal we're seeing over the last couple months is an increase in support for sanctuary policies. Sanctuary policies are now supported by a plurality. I think it was 48 to something in the low 40s. And you say, well, how can America want all illegal immigrants gone by 20 net points, but then also support sanctuary policies? And then we also ask, well, hey, do you support ICE or the ICE protesters? And ICE only wins by 4 points there. ICE protesters, it's got in the low 40s. How can that coexist? Well, it's because Americans don't like the tactics. That's it. Red meat, Tom Homan storming these cities with jackbooted thugs and masks and tear gas and young women in the face. Like, that's red meat for the first 6 months, but Americans aren't brutal people. They're very kind people. They just want fairness. And so that's it. Change the tactics. And unfortunately, in my opinion, based on what I've heard, they're not going to, because of the business lobby is too powerful. And Trump is surrounded by people who believe in, I don't know if you're familiar with this term, but line go up economy. The line just has to go up. Line go up, line go up. And almost like you can palpably feel the desperation for Trump in October of 2026 to go to campaign rallies and run based on a 5.9% GDP print, which is, in my opinion, the most boomer, out of touch, horrible thing to do, because nobody cares about the stock market. They don't care about, whatever, like 7% on 90% of the stock. Well, whatever it is, the number's bad, right? And it's like, yeah, the market could crash and pretty much anybody who's on the internet wouldn't care. They can't get a job. Like they don't.
Well, even
care
talk about
the
the government shutdown. Like, I don't know that most people even really care about that. It's like last time it shut down, did it affect anybody? No, like we don't.
Yeah.
Like those things just don't seem to really affect. But it dominates news cycles. Well, if they don't do this, we're going to shut down the government. It's like, most Americans are a little more Ron Swanson on that issue.
I mean, just in the last 2 or 3 years, all politics changed. Joe Biden changed all politics by weaponizing the system against Americans. Period. End of story. And so, yeah, if you look at Trump's numbers, we watched this. We were tracking his numbers daily, like as we do every day. And during the shutdown, people did not care up until about 3 or 4 weeks when they're like, wait, the Republicans are going to let SNAP run out and they don't have any plan and they're not doing anything. And Trump's flying around the country or the world, meeting with foreign dignitaries. That's when his numbers started to slip. Independents were beating him up hard. He went into election day in November with like negative 27 among independents because they just look like they don't know how to govern the country. It's just absolutely terrible. And they don't. Here's the thing. This is what was so beautiful. And I said this very clearly the second it came out. Why are we in Minnesota? Why is ICE in Minnesota? It's because of the fraud.
Right.
Minnesota was a thing because of $10 billion a year of federal fraud. And Trump sent ICE and made it about illegal immigrants and ICE protests, when what it should have been is all of the Department of Justice and all of the FBI and all of the IRS bringing down the federal wrath of God on Tim Waltz and Ellison and, that guy that ate the Somali food and got a tapeworm. Like, those people should have been brutally punished. And instead we flooded it with ICE, made it about protests, killed American citizens in protests. Like, you can say what you want about those people, but they, one of them was a mom. Like, I get that she, had an LGBT relationship and she's like, it doesn't look good. Did it punish his numbers? No, I don't think so. But it's bad. It's the optics when he was handed this massive opportunity. I said this on my show. I said, you like Trump, like take path A or B. It's like you can continue to flop and twitch, make it look like Republicans don't know how to govern, yell at John Thune for not using the nuclear option, not get any legislative agenda passed. Like that could be your year 2026. Or you could just storm every blue state that we all know is completely rife with fraud. Scott Bessent said we had $600 billion of annual fraud. Why are we even talking about cutting the government when all we have to do is just arrest people? Like that's literally all we have to do. Just go. Are you seriously the Democrats are going to win when Republicans are uncovering all this massive fraud? No, because Doge was more popular than Trump was.
Yeah.
And Doge had its finger on the pulse of the young voter zeitgeist. They loved Doge. And that's what Trump doesn't get. And again, I think, like, I hate to do the age thing, but he's acting like Boomer. He's trying to support a system that has failed America. And he talked about the system failing America, and now he's the system. He's trying to ensure that businesses remain stable. He's trying to keep the housing prices up. He's not really like he negotiated with Waltz and Mayor Fry. He negotiated with them when they have active criminal referrals from the Department of Justice. Like, what are we even doing here? And not only that, they like thumb their nose at him after he negotiated. Like, what are we even doing here? And when you look at the younger voters and like the young Americans, what they say on the internet is just like, why haven't we deported Ilhan Omar already? Why can't we arrest people? Why are you even talking about performative LGBT legislation, Mike Johnson, when all these criminals are still running the country? And it's like, yeah, you look at things like regime change in Iran, and it's actually not that unpopular. It's not super popular, but it's not that unpopular. But I think the sentiment you're hearing is like, why are we talking about invading Canada, buying Greenland, and regime change in Iran when we can't even change our regime in Minneapolis?
Right.
Like,
but let me ask you a question.
Question.
Rich Barris, I don't know his exact title, what he does. He's in charge of, was it the director, chair of the National Association for Independent Pollsters.
oh, that's us. Yep.
Yeah, Colton, you got this image here. This is what bothers people. This was a poll question. Will Republicans pass a Venezuelan aid package before passing anything meaningful on affordability or health care? 68% said, yeah, I could see that happening.
Yep.
I mean, for me, that's an indictment of leadership, of the Lindsey Grahams and, the things going on. And I'm sure there's 100 reasons. This isn't even a question of whether we should have done, brought in Maduro, any of this kind of stuff. It's just, do you think they'll be able to pass an aid package for Venezuelans before we do something meaningful for Americans? And most people say, yeah, probably. I see it happening.
Yeah, and like, and his followers are got to be 80% conservative. The other 20% are certainly independents. There are no liberals there. There's really nobody with TDS following Rich Barris. And so that's a sample of basically MAGA people. And MAGA people are like, yeah, I totally expect Congress. Like, we know this. We know this. The government was going to shut down. Trump had no legislative agenda. His, judges weren't being approved in August, and they took like a 50-day whatever, and they sent a delegation of like dozens of Republican congressional leaders over to Israel to kiss the wall. And it's like, what are we even doing here? The optics. It's like humiliation theater at a certain point. I really think Republicans want to lose. I don't know about Mike Johnson, but like, we know this. He was talking about healthcare there. How do you fix healthcare? That's an important question because it's like 20% of our GDP. It's one of the biggest expenditures we have. If we hadn't had Medicare and Medicaid, we would probably be $10 trillion less in debt. And it's now the biggest employer in almost every state. It's literally eating America, healthcare. And you have to wonder what we're getting for our money because, I think that we're probably capping out life expectancy increases and stuff like that. And that we all know that our country is rife with corporatists and corporate welfare, and that these business interests have become entrenched. So now Trump talked about healthcare a lot, and the Republicans had a plan. And we have these Obamacare subsidy extensions that the Democrats wanted, right? Republicans 10 years ago had a chance and we obviously know they didn't repeal Obamacare, but they've had 10 years to think about, well, when the opportunity comes up, how are we going to fix this? And so these subsidies are a transfer payment. They take money from productive taxpayers and redistribute it to people who don't produce as much. That's just what they do, right? And the Republican plan was, well, instead of getting rid of those subsidies, we're going to still take the money. We're going to still have a transfer payment, but we're going to drop it in an HSA so that also the bankers make money in fees off of it. That's it. It was like, yep, we're going to do what the Democrats do, but our constituency is also going to get a cut. And after 10 years of they've probably spent $1 billion on Republican think tanks between now and then. It's just so perversely bad. And so even Trump, when you talk about it, he's like, yes, I've negotiated a pharmaceutical MFN. He's gone to Pfizer and he said whatever he needed to say to Pfizer. I don't think it was, we're going to arrest your C-suite. I don't think that's what he said to Pfizer. I think he said, let's get a win together. And it's like, all right, well, you look at the pharmaceutical pricing. I think pharmaceuticals is less than 10% of all healthcare expenditure. And then if you look at the effect of like, well, what's he meaningfully going to be able to bring down the cost with negotiating cheaper pharmaceutical we're talking about a 2 or 3 or 4% fix. This is not enough to make up for the fact that roughly 10% of our GDP is government funded healthcare. When we all know the real problem is that there are entrenched bureaucrats, there is a revolving door with industry, there is fraudulent activity that happens, there is a lot of these problems that there's a misalignment of interests, there's corporate capture, there is pricing insensitivities due to the way that these things are managed in the healthcare industry. And these are not complicated, in my opinion, issues. Like, I don't think it's very hard to turn over a rock, just like Doge. It was like, oh, look at USAID. Wow, it's all worms. Yeah, I think healthcare is a lot like that. My mom's going through late stage 4 cancer, and the amount of MRIs this woman has gotten is like ridiculous just in the last and so you just have to question how can, if a Republican mandate and Republicans who are supposed to be conservative, and they have this money they spend on think tanks, they have this money that they lobby on, they've had to run against single payer for decades now, they've had to have an alternative, they have no plan. There is no Republican path forward to fix our issues, which would have to be a very brutal anti-corruption purge with lots of investigations and teeth, right? Like actual teeth, actual wailing and gnashing of tears in the C-suite. It would drive stocks down. The line would go down, not the line go up, the line go down. And that's how you would fix America. And so if the Republicans can't make the line go down, then we have no path forward. Because the Democrats are going to make the line go way, 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 way up. It's just going to, they're just going to raid the Treasury.
It feels like the ones around him, RFK's done some things I think that didn't please, Big Pharma, reverse the food pyramid, done some other things on some of the vaccine schedule and the board that's on there. Dr. Oz had a clip the other day where he's driving around in LA, and there's this one spot where in a 4-block area, there's 42 hospice centers that are receiving
in how many
within
blocks?
a 4-block radius. In 4 blocks, there's 42 hospice care centers that are just in random. This is super ghetto area. It's just random, like 3 flights of stairs and a door with like a vinyl sign in Armenian. And these guys are just getting rubber stamped health care. Whatever bills they turn in are just paid for. Yeah. I mean, this isn't like you're not even trying to take down Capone. And find the tax evasion, mail fraud. These are just low-hanging fruit that if Americans saw them coming after some of these kind of things, at least it would feel like, why do I play by the rules? Why do I pay my taxes? Why do I try not to speed? Why do I pick up litter off the street? Like, when they don't go after the low-hanging fruit, that's what, and the thing is, it seems like he has some people around him that at least talk about this and put it on the table. If Americans began to see justice out there, not Armenians flipping you off in their hospice care center that doesn't even exist with no patients, those are the kinds of things I think would really move the needle if people started to see justice in these kind of things that just really are enraging.
Yeah, I like the window's closed, I think. I don't want to be a doomer or a pessimist. I really think the window is closed here because like the Trump energy that he had last March was the time. Like I had almost 60% of under 40 voters. First off, he had a Trump approval rating of 60% with under 40s. We literally had a week where he had 60%.
Wow.
Which should have been such a wake-up call for everybody in Washington, D.C. I was like, look at this. This is incredible. It's the first time ever Republicans did something right. The youth actually love Republicans. And it was like when, we were literally taking a chainsaw to the government. You could look at the Google search trends. And the week that Doge searches spiked was the week that Donald Trump's approval rating was highest with the younger voters. But we also ask, well, is Trump being a dictator? And the quote from Napoleon, he who saves his country violates no laws. Almost 60% of under 40 voters approved of that, said that, yep, that's 100% correct. That makes sense, of course, obviously. And of course, all the over 40 voters did not. It was in the mid 30s. And so the young people are craving the system to be violently attacked. And it didn't happen. They got rid of it. Trump helped bury Doge. We were not violently attacking the system anymore. I even think that back then, last March, he could have easily gotten away with ignoring judges. I really think he could have, because a plurality wanted to impeach Boasberg, and most people weren't even following the whole situation that much, right? And so I think the word of the day is egregious. We haven't, like, this isn't 10 years ago where everybody's like, oh, Congress is just getting bribed or they bought off and it's okay. We can all chuckle about it because the dollar will last forever. It's like, no, again, we've seen egregious things. We've seen a vice president of the United States who was taking money from China and who had people signing pardons for him while he was snoozing. And then they gave Trump 100 counts of felonies that meant nothing. They raided Mar-a-Lago with authorized use of deadly force. And this is why Trump won. Again, Trump's platform is significantly more popular than Trump is. And obviously there's a lot of people that like him. Obviously he's engendered some people's trust. And he did win because people trust Trump more than the federal government. The federal government is only trusted by 30% of voters. So that's why Trump's in office, to fix that. But every single thing that the press is like, oh, that's horrible, we can't do that, is more popular than Trump. Blowing up narco boats, literally everything. Impeaching judges, these are all things that are more popular than Trump is. And again, even the appetite for him to be a dictator is more popular than Trump is. Mm-hmm. And so it's really hard to look at that and say, well, you know what I mean? We're getting enough out of this. When he's taking major campaign promises, people were on board with mass deportations. And it's like, well, this 20 million number, I'm going to make it 1 million and I'm going to double down on it. And so it's like the time for drastic action is almost over. We're 11 months away from his legislative agenda being functionally dead. There's going to be major anti-corruption cases that Democrats are going to bring against him.
Well, talk about your polls. What's the percentage of Democrats that want to impeach Trump if they gain power in the midterms?
We just got this back. I think it was 73%, right? It was a pretty high number. And what's kind of wild about this, too, is that Trump's running on it as if it's the number one thing that he should run on for November 2026. No, you should arrest people, dude. That should be your number one thing. And, he's been through two impeachments that didn't really affect his numbers. He was convicted and his numbers went up. And he's asking people who aren't even Republicans to turn out for him again after he failed on major campaign promises to prevent an impeachment from happening. But it was 49% of people overall. It was positive by a couple of points, which actually puts it pretty similar to where the Joe Biden impeachment numbers were. The difference is, obviously, the Democrats will impeach Trump and the Republicans never impeach Joe Biden, right. Even though there was very clear reasons. People thought that Joe Biden was profiting from China. People thought, obviously, this whole thing with Hunter Biden is a scandal. It was very clear. And so, again, you have all these things where it's the temperature in this country is still increasing. The pot is getting hotter. It's getting to the point where it's so egregiously hot that we can all see the stove dial is turned to high. We can all see it, right? And Donald Trump ran a very different campaign. It wasn't we need to build a wall. We need to hold China accountable. It was I am your retribution and I'm going to restore a golden age. And people are yes, we need that. That's what we need. Mm-hmm. And they don't know what that looks like. But now Trump doesn't know what that looks like either. And so when you look like in the rearview mirror after what's going to happen here, I don't think history is going to be kind, because when most people on the internet are like, no, 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 Trump, you're saying the wrong things. Like maybe maybe the housing bubble should, like maybe we don't need that. And he's out there defending basically fake paper wealth that's only been around for 2 or 3 years in order to make the line go up. I think people are already starting to see through it with the anger at Israel and how much, again, like you just look at these things. You have to think through this logically. Yes, people did not want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. Very obviously. It's like, okay, cool. We don't want Iran to have nukes. And the strikes on Iran to take out the nuclear program were popular. People were like, yeah, we should totally blow that up.
The surgical
it was,
type.
yeah, 57% or something like that. But then they're like, yeah, but like, what are you doing about your core promise, which was an American golden age? What is your economic plan? And for instance, on the housing issue, which is the number one issue, I hesitate to say number one, but it is a huge issue for the under 40 voters. Almost 3/4 of them say that house prices are crisis territory. Like, that's a big deal. And it's like, okay, you bomb Iran, great. But it's like you bomb Iran, and then 2 months later, you're like, so check out this 50-year mortgage, bro. Like,
right.
Like it's so comically, laughably out of touch and bad. And I went to the White House, and I don't feel that there's this cohesive, like, first off, there is not a core strategy. That's my personal assessment. Like this idea that we have some roadmap and we're going to do X, Y, and Z over this time period, and it's going to work out because America might be upset now, but we got Plan Z coming. Like, I did not get that at all. I got like, yahoo, we're shooting things at the wall to see what sticks. And that's why you get this like whiplash every day where Trump takes a step forward and then 2 steps back. And then I also got like I'm pretty confident I have a pretty good idea what's going on with the nation politically. But I'm not like some unicorn. Like pretty much anybody under 40 who doesn't have their head up MSNBC's butt, pretty much any one of those people would say, oh, yeah, obviously, that's correct. Like, yes, we should get rid of Ilhan Omar. Quite clearly, she should be gone already.
But that whole regime,
And they want to
Tim
see
Walz,
justice.
Ellison, and the whole bit.
Yep. They do want to see justice. There's no doubt about it. We're hearing that from people. So one of the things that Flyover family,
like, even the basic stuff, like Donald Trump, stop golfing with Lindsey Graham. What are you doing?
Right.
Exactly.
Like, and it took me to go to the White House and say these things. So there is not that voice. There is no voice in the White House that gets where things, like, to use your son's going to laugh at this. They don't know what time it is. They literally, the White House has no idea. And that's bad.
That's something that really, each week I do something called the prophetic report. And one of the things we keep hearing over and over again is President Trump has the wrong advisors around him. We need to be really praying for the right advisors, the wrong advisors that actually, it's not just they don't know, they actually are in there trying to screw it up for President Trump. So we really have got to be praying for President Trump. There's no doubt about it. One last question I have for you before we let you go. So obviously we're looking at midterms. What are people's thought on the midterms as well as voter ID? Because I saw something on your X that you put out by Brianna Murillo that 74% of voters believe that requiring photo ID to vote is a reasonable measure.
So the midterms, I think, are a Democrat win. At this point, I just think they are. If you asked me 2 months ago, I would have said there's a chance. And I went to the White House, and you can give me feedback on what you think how viable my plan was. But it was stop counter-signaling yourself, have message discipline, and you need to deliver on 2 things over the next 10 months. And you can't fix all these problems. You have to be very clear that it's a multi-decade fix. But the Republicans have a plan forward. Number 1 was restoring the middle class, economic populism, hold businesses accountable. And number 2 was brutal, visible government reform. And the most important part is that you have to make it look like Republicans can do it. Stop fighting them and help everybody see what we're putting in reconciliation. You're going to get more of this. This is our vision for the future. And it was obviously not followed. And so now I think it's going to be complete lost territory. But I also think it's impossible to predict how much. Because Democrat plus 6, it's not that bad. And they're still gerrymandering a bunch of stuff. And then you have all these seats that are going to be new, and who knows like how some of those will go. I think there's upside risk and downside risk, but the writing is pretty much on the wall that Republicans are going to lose. It's just a question of how much, even though the bar's so low, even though I totally think they could pull it out because the Democrat Party is a laughingstock. And so I think what you're left with is like, okay, well, there could be a few exogenous shocks that make me caveat my prediction, which is maybe Donald Trump discloses aliens, because I heard that's coming on Reddit. I mean, not like from anybody within the administration.
not on your visit.
No, yeah, I'm not breaking news here. Or maybe we realize how absolutely corrupt our elections are, because if you've been reading the Ralph Pizzello stolen election books and following Patrick Byrne and listening to Emerald Robinson, it's a very, very, very deep rabbit hole of complete corruption.
And the FBI just take action in Georgia recently. So like, it seems like there is for a duck that looks like it's not moving a lot, the feet are going like crazy below the surface. It has that vibe.
There is, and I hate to be a 2-week guy, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, but it is conceivable that people within the Department of Justice are interviewing Nicolas Maduro, and he is telling people things like that is possible. Like we did that. We took Maduro. He has been alleged by people to involved in a massive election theft ring that includes potentially our own government, which has also, those agencies are led by people who have also alleged that the leaders have been, I mean, it's bad. Like this would be a very ugly stone to turn over. But we haven't even gone after AgBlue yet, which also makes me scratch my head, because they probably are going to wind up with a $1.8 billion haul in 2025. And we all know the malfeasance is potentially there, you know, like laundered foreign money, potentially, allegedly, that some people have said. So there's that. And then there's just the fact that it's like we're probably seeing the harbingers of total global war. Like, I don't know how to sugarcoat that. You have the head of NATO telling everybody needs to prepare with a two-front war with Russia and China. You have Russia that's been reticent to, I mean, we still have everything that's going on there. You have probably what amounts to resource nationalism with Trump snatching up Venezuela and arguing over Greenland. And then you have Trump's pledge to raise the military budget expenditures 50%, which is a massive increase. Why would we do that? Like, are we going to talk about why somebody would go about spending another $500 billion a year? So all that could like break out, and it's just impossible to predict. Like, what's the predicate to World War III, and will it make everybody run away and scatter and undermine our country, or will it galvanize everybody into something where TBS becomes a thing of the past? It's like, I think it's fair to say I'm not being these are things that we are probably dealing with now. I mean, we were just talking about a blue state governor threatening to bring the National Guard in to protect against federal agents who are enforcing the law.
And he's using terms like Fort Sumner. He says we're at a Fort Sumner kind of moment. You know, I mean, that's what started the Civil War. I mean, when he's making those kind of statements, it's like, are you calling?
Especially a guy that's been to China so much. Like, so we're in the Matrix, and people are waking up, and I think everybody thought Trump would be that guy. And I had a post that I thought was kind of clever that sort of talks about this. But like, I think we're going to look back and say, well, it probably wasn't wise to outsource a revolution to just one guy. You know what I mean? Like, that's essentially what happened here. You know, we had a very zealous army of grassroots people for the whole Tea Party stuff. And I don't really feel like we have that now. I feel like MAGA is kind of complacent. I think that they did a lot of heavy lifting for 2024, but you're not seeing major conservative protests right now. You're not seeing high energy. You're not seeing momentum. You're seeing exasperation, exhaustion, resignation. I don't know what to call it, right? But those aren't good things.
We really need to pray.
We need some perp walks. I think that would start affecting things, because for Gavin Newsom to be going to the World Economic Forum and trying to like still live the high life when you're the worst ever, and I don't know what they're.
That was hilarious. That snub though.
Oh my
God. It was chef's kiss.
It was so bad.
So I don't know what their election is going to look like. Like, what's the threshold of tolerance for the population in California. I don't know. I know the census data on the number of population shift is staggering. On a national election, I don't know what their pathway forward is without perfection, because all of the Democrats are just isolated in cities, which on a national election can only help them so much.
Yeah, I think the problem is it's like they've won every single special election, every single one. And it's because, in my opinion, and it's like I'm not sitting here looking at the registration numbers in every state and going county by county about who turned out where. It's like I polled New Jersey once. I had Chitterelli down 6, and that was at the beginning of October. And I pulled some data at the end of October. He was down like 8 or 9. I'm like, oh. And then he got -13. And it's like, well, there's probably about 4 points of fraud in New Jersey. I'm not going to lie, probably, right? But it's like, take a step back, and why did Jack Chitterelli get shellacked? What happened in Virginia? Why are we losing all these other things? And it's because the polling's tough. Like, everybody's got a different flavor. If you look at my polling, Trump's got a higher black approval rating than you would expect. It was in the mid-40s for most of the first year of this term. And everybody would laugh at me and say, well, the exit polling doesn't say that. It only says 8%. Well, it's like, yeah, but exit polling's a poll too. And it's like NBC doing it. Like, so of course it's going to be wrong. And the major thing that always fit in mind is that about 42% of Trump's 2024 turnout in my polling was Democrats and independents. People who are not Republican voters, people who just showed up in the poll, and it's like, look at that. Independents changed a lot. Well, it's like, yeah, because we got all these first-time voters who were just pissed at the system, and they are not Republicans at all. And in my polling for New Jersey, if the under 40 voter had sat out, just not come, Chitterelli probably would have won. He would have won with all these over 40 people, which is pretty stunning in New Jersey, considering it's a blue state with blue everything, and Chitterelli was not a really great candidate, didn't run a really good campaign. And so it really comes down to, you have this ephemeral, poorly understood voter that the Republicans have no clue. They do not have the data. They don't know where that person comes from. They don't even know what that person wants. They're still telling themselves they only got wiped out back to the 2012 Romney baseline, and we just need to vote harder, and we got the right message. And they're going to try and Constitution thump their way through every election from here on out to try and recapture some like Reagan lightning in a bottle. And it's all just, it's so loser, the beautiful losers. And even now they're trying to like hamstring Trump at every turn, and they're trying to displace J.D. Vance because they don't want an economic populist Republican Party. And so I really think this is the one. I do think that 24 was a fluke. I think it was blowback for the overreach of Biden that was misinterpreted as a red wave and a future conservatization of America. That is not what's happened. The under 40 voters are not conservative at all. They literally just want people to fry. They want to burn the system down. And I hate to be grim, but Colton will laugh at this stuff too. They have no filter. They can spot lies from a mile away. They are offending people on purpose. Like, this is going to be a wild generation. People call them jokingly Generation Zyklon. And just look at the Nick Fuentes stuff. Like, you're going to see more of that disrespect to a system that they believe has failed. And Trump is going to be increasingly, to them, a face of this failure, because if you can't even arrest Ilhan Omar, what are we even doing?
Mm-hmm. Does he basically have till midsummer to do something to maybe turn this around?
You know what? I really don't know. I think a lot depends on what the Democrats do. And I'm not a DC guy, but I've heard from people, it's almost an open secret, that there are multiple Democrat congressional offices with staffers working around the clock to build real anti-corruption cases against people in the Trump administration. And so it's like, okay, well, Trump's still stepping on himself with things like, oh, we're only going to deport the absolute worst criminals. Like, fail, bad move. Doesn't understand his base. Like, that is, I mean, like, here's what it comes down to. Again, the bar for Trump won. He was the Molotov cocktail that Michael Moore said he was going to be, like, thrown down the aisles of Congress. He was the upsetter, the wrench in the system from outside the system, right? That's all he had to do. But now this is a different America, and he needs to be a wartime president. This is a war. And he's not. A wartime president understands what the mission is, stays on mission, the leadership really matters. The strategy matters. There is no strategy. And I think the young people spot it. The Nick Fuentes people who have been saying the Fell For It Again awards, the people who have questioned the flip-flops and things like Epstein and the lack of message discipline. Like, it's so crazy that how big of an issue the housing price thing is. And what's actually kind of breathtaking is the under 40 voters really didn't even make it a thing. Like, Trump went on Rogan, but never really talked about it as part of his platform. He said he was going to bring down housing prices, I guess, in one or two campaigns, but it was never really like front and center. And I didn't see a lot of people freaking out about it in the polling. But then when he came out with the 50-year mortgage, everybody was just rolling him and making fun of him. And it was, yeah, but like this string of self-inflicted black eyes is starting to get like pretty questionable here. And I don't know how it goes. Like, here's another thought. J.D. Vance's polling is so incredible right now. He is polling better than Trump was in the spring of 2022. He is by far the heir apparent. And I understand that Trump doesn't like heir apparents. I understand that there's been a lot in this White House of negotiation about endorsements. And I'm sure that there's some expectation of that kind of thing happens here. I guess maybe, right? But if Trump doesn't understand his base and nobody else comes close to J.D. Vance and the wheels fall off because of, oh, well, I didn't even say, I don't know when the Democrats are going to start dropping those cases, if it's going to be like new commissions after they win Congress. And I think what you're going to feel is before then, there's probably going to be a wave of departures from the Trump White House. Already it's been a long time before anybody's left, which is incredible. There's usually a lot of turnover, and if these cases are coming, people are going to bounce. They're not going to want that mud to splatter on them. They're not going to want to be implicated in congressional investigations. So that all could happen between now and the midterms. But then the whole J.D. Vance thing, it's like, how long is America going to question the future with the current leader when they have somebody that understands their needs? I just don't know what that looks like. It could be under 40 voters that are conservative. They're calling for the 25th Amendment. I just don't know. But these things all could happen because just all bets are off. This is just not red team, blue team anymore. It is a political realignment in a very troubling, needy nation. This is not. Yeah.
Everybody's paying more attention than ever before.
This is
nobody's politically neutral.
No, this is a call for prayer. No doubt about it.
Call for prayer. Absolutely. I'll tell people where to find you. The website is at rasmussenreports.com. At Honest Pollster on X is where to follow you. And again, some people turn into shows like ours and they want to, hey, here's all of our wins and stuff we're stacking. And they want to be clear with you is you always come on and say the temperature on the thermostat is 73. Now you can adjust it, you can go down a couple notches, you can raise it or whatever, but it says 73 because that's what it is, and you say the truth. And I think in a world where with moving targets and it's hard to find what's square, there's few plumb lines, your information is more valuable than ever.
Thank you so much for coming on, Mark. We really appreciate it.
Everyone is talking about this.
The one thing that's very important part of my portfolio all these years is gold.
As gold hit all-time highs already this year.
And get a free info kit on gold today.
It's called silver.
Gold coin.
And though we are thrilled that everyone is talking about investing in precious metals, a lot of these 1-800 numbers will make you feel like just another transaction. That's why it's crucial to work with a person, not a faceless institution, when it comes to your finances. You deserve to be treated like family, not just another number. Dr. Kirk Elliott, who we've known for over 25 years, he doesn't just sell gold and silver. He offers trust, care, and a personal touch that an impersonal institution could never match. So when it comes to securing your financial future, don't just call a company, call a person. Call Dr. Kirk Elliott at 720-605-3900 or visit flyovergold.com to learn more.
If you want to do anything worthwhile in life, you've got to be hungry. It's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. So every day I was working to develop myself. And that's what you must do.
promise you one thing. You will never seen any player in the entire country play as hard as I will play the rest of the season.
Get here! Hey, we got 30 minutes for the rest of our lives! 30 minutes for the rest of our lives! There were none before me, and there will be none after me. Therefore, that makes me the one and only. Young and single and love to mingle, certified, bona fide, indubitably qualified to bring you satisfaction, a whole lot of action. Look out, baby, I'm your love man. I was hungry. I was hungry. You gotta be hungry.
I'm Linda Bamber Olson, the inventor of the Wave Watch, the world's first frequency therapy watch. It features over 1,100 targeted frequencies. These sounds are acoustical and they move through your body. You don't necessarily have to hear it. So that's why we have so many testimonies for ADD and ADHD, emotions, headaches, joints, and so many more.
If you had a time machine and you could go back to, say, 1930 and you had 1 ounce of gold or a $20 bill, both of those would buy you a complete men's suit, brand new, the shirt, the tie, the belt. Either one would buy you the whole thing. If you had a time machine and then you brought both of those resources into today, 1 ounce of gold could still buy you a full suit at pretty much any men's store in America. The $20 bill, why, it probably only gets you a handkerchief or a pair of socks.
How do you get the gold and silver? Well, it's very simple. We have a friend that we've known for over 25 years. In fact, his dad was a mentor of ours, and his name is Dr. Kirk Elliott. And the way that you connect with him is you go to flyovergold.com. It's a website that we set up to make it very simple. All you do is go there, fill out your information, and someone from Dr. Kirk's team will get a hold of you to answer all of your questions. Whatever you have, they can help you out. Or you can simply call 720-605-3900. Again, 720-605-3900 to set up that free consultation. Do it today. You will be so glad that you did. For more great content, go to flyoverconservatives.com.
The truth.
I'm Jim Price, a Jim Price Show Daily Update. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let's make up the date like the government does. Oh, no, the government already did that for me. We'll call it February 6th. It's a Friday, 2026. Well, guys, thank you so much for being a part of the show. Yes, it is a Friday, and we are all looking forward to the sun shining. Looks like this weekend we're going to go ahead and avoid all the storms that we seem to have had the last couple weekends, and everybody's like, oh, God, we're all going to die. And then we didn't, and then, all that good stuff. So that is today is Friday. We have a good weekend coming up. Looks like the country is fairly stable in the storm of things with all the different things going on. We're okay. Good to see you, Edward. Thank you so much. Looks like we got Courtney Allen here. Courtney Allen, and, hey, Courtney, I'd hate to say it, but you're full of gas. Anyway, well, that's right. We're here to help each other. We're not here to tear each other down, right? It's good stuff. All right. Well, the stuff that we have going on in the world around us. Today I went ahead and named. I didn't name all the other episodes since last week or the week before, or the last month or whatever. That I did not call the episode Jeffy any other time. I have now called it Jeffy. We are going to discuss a lot of what's been going on in the Jeff E. files. And guys, at this point, I don't know. There's a lot of anecdotes. A lot of things like that. Courtney Allen says, that reminds me. Oh, yeah, I bet. I could only imagine. I can only imagine. So anyway, the Jeff E. files that are coming out and the way everybody's acting to them, the sad part of this is that I look around and I go, okay, how is it that this guy was so interconnected with every single person that you see from the WEF, the WHO, Spain, England, EU, Ukraine. This guy was actually at the Ukrainian inauguration for Zelensky. He went to the inauguration for Zelensky to Ukraine. When you look around at all the things that this guy was able to do and the access he has, dude, there's nothing about this guy that says that this is a friendly guy, that super charismatic, expialidocious, whatever it is, the whatever reason we call this guy. He just had access to everybody. And there are some Catholic Church connections. There are some Mormon Church connections. There are very distinctive connections to this gentleman, and a lot of the things that we're looking around going, what? Israel connections, Mossad connections, CIA connections, Bitcoin connections, Q connections, Reddit connections, presidential connections, legislative connections, scientific connections, esoteric connections, spiritual connections. This guy was involved in so many things, but I will tell you that I think a lot of what he was on some marching orders. Remember, he was directly tied to the Rothschild. This is why I don't understand this guy. Okay, Bill Barr's father knew him and hired him as a math expert to teach math without a degree. Bill Barr, the son, knew him as well. Hillary knew him. Bill knew him. Bill Gates knew him. It is like everybody knew this guy except for us, you and I. Well, we found out about it a few years ago, and then we started talking about this. But hey, Terrence William, good to see you, man. Thank you for being here. But let me give you something just to kind of chew on for a second. Bill Barr is actually apologizing to Q now. Q followers, the QAnon, the Q Anonymous. By the way, there was no such thing as a QAnon. It was QAnon. There was anonymous posts in Q, and they were trying to give it another title, another insanity thing, this and that. But the crazy part of it is Bill Barr, Mr. himself, Mr. I'm somebody, I'm a comedian, but I got a talk show. Somewhere along the line, he decided he wanted to go ahead and apologize to Q. He says he owes him an apology and admitted that the elites are the real problem. Bill Maher, you knew that. This is the part where I don't like this part of the disclosure of things. This is the part where I don't like this little. Oh, well, I didn't know. I didn't know it was the elites. I didn't know. Well, guys, I've never met Ellen DeGenerate, and yet I know she's a piece of shit. Okay? I've never met Rosie O'Donnell, and I know that she's a piece of shit. I've never met The Rock, and I know he's a piece of shit. I've never met LeBron James, and he is the biggest wussy piece of shit girl on earth. But guys, I don't have to meet the guy to know what their patterns are in public. but also what their communications are behind the scenes. Now, guys, let me give you something here. Email is probably the least. Hey, darling Swaffer. Well, good to see you. So happy to see you're feeling better. Thank you so much for that. I absolutely appreciate that. Guys, I don't understand how you can sit and look around, and I'm, again, I always talk about myself and Crypto Psych. Good to see you. Says, love you, Jim. Appreciate you over there on Rumble. Appreciate it. You can't look around and then say this, but then my problem is, guys, how many times have you in an email that was not work-related, let's say you were emailing someone an invite to a thing, or you were sending them a picture or a document or whatever, but it's usually never in an email. Guys, listen, we're still not getting all the communications. There are still text messages. There are still phone call logs. There are still a lot of other avenues of communication that this email chain, this 2.5 million that we got last Friday, guys, that's not even, I don't think that's the beginning of the pile. But the idea that we're all over going here, oh, we got the emails. Oh, we know everything. This is exactly how they did it. I know now. I see it. This is the emails. Oh, let me look through here, and I'm going to look at this email. Okay, all right. This is it. This is the email. This has got everything. I know. This is it. Guys, how many emails have you sent today, and how many text messages have you sent today, and how many phone calls have you had today, and how many in-person, casual, or formal conversations have you had today? And I'm going to probably say that the least amount of communication you've done, especially on personal items, is email. Right? So if we think that email, excuse me, is like this guy's only mode of transportation, like of communicating things, like this is the only way he knows how to get words into the internet, and then someone's able to drag them out in an email form? Yeah, no. That's not how that works. Guys, this is the tip of the iceberg. This is where, guys, you haven't got the good stuff. If you think the little redacted slips of the little girl and kind of showing part of her face or parting of another dude's face or whatever it is, you think that if you think those were done accidentally, you think that the redactions weren't done permanently and it's somehow magically able to get off there, they wasn't done accidentally. They just want to see if you're good enough. They want to hold these people accountable, but they need you guys to go in there and do your dirty work. Now, guys, I will tell you, I am so happy that nowadays with the internet and how we call things out and we go out of our way to really look at what's going on around us, I will say I am very happy with what I've seen in the Q field of things, but I'm also very happy to see how many people on the opposite sides of spectrum, blue hairs and conservatives, you got the alt-left and the alt-right, and they're all coming together, and they're all forming a big unified tent, and they still can't find Trump's penis. So there's that. So the point of it is, guys, is that this whole thing, for a lot of people, is still trying to see where Trump was having sex with underage boys and girls. And I will tell you guys that that's not going to happen. If it was going to happen, it would have already been out there. They've already tried. They've already went through it. Trust me. They've done search queries. They've done all that. Trust me. It's been done before. This is not a new thing. Okay, they've had these files for what, a decade or more now. I mean, what are we talking about here, folks? So Prince Andrew's now been moved out of his residence in England. He's no longer considered to be one of the royals. There is a few other people over. Hey, Lisa's here. There's a few people over there across the pond that are still under investigation or are in hot water. And I do believe that we're going to see a lot more of this happening. And I think the Mandandi part of the story is going to come out, and why his mother was photographing him with her and Jeffy. There's going to be a lot of that. But let's see. There's what's the guy's name? Oh, Big Fish, head of Rothschild Swiss Bank and CEO of World Economic Forum, caught in Epstein files, showing the astonishing reach of late pedophile among the super elite. See, I don't know if he was actually, I think he was given access, but I think he was a doer. I don't think this guy was any type of, hey, Jeanette, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. I don't think this guy was any type of real super mastermind, but I do believe that he was articulate enough and secretive enough that he was willing to go and do bad things. And they let him. Failing Starmer, so Starmer, Pierce Starmer, or Keir Starmer, Keir, K-E-I-R, Keir Starmer. Well, he's having a hard time, and things are not going well over there in England. A lot of things are getting torn up. But, guys, I don't think that the Epstein thing is, I think the Epstein thing is just like this is the appetizer. This is the clean your palate and get ready for the main course part of the story of things. So I think it's coming. I think there's a lot more out there. Edward, thank you so much for being a part of the show and getting all the comments and doing all that greeting. Thank you as well. Everybody else who's here, appreciate all the good comments, getting in and saying hi like you're supposed to. Kathy's here. Kathy Tarrant is here as well, and it's good to see all you guys. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. So going back to this whole thing today, like I said, today is the Jeff E of things, but there's a lot of weird stuff going on with this, and I keep looking at like how it's all set up, pretty basic. Like the last ones we got, there was people, last tranche or last stack of emails or stack of documents we got, people went through all those, scraped them, did all that. Now we've been a week into this little bump of them, and I think it's gonna get bigger. I just think that this is just to whet your appetite, a little sip of water to make you think you're thirsty, and I think you are. I think it's gonna happen. Let's see here. Oh, Dona's here as well. Hello, she says. Well, I want you to know I'm pushing for trees. I'm pushing over trees and listening to you. Well, Lisa, I see how you are out there. Be kind. Rewind. No, good job, Lisa. I know you work hard, and I'm always very impressed with a lot of the stuff that I see you doing. And so good luck with all that, and good job. So. All right, yeah, Lisa Fernander, sorry, gosh, your name, it's always a little difficult for me. So, all right, a lot of stuff going on. I guess Luigi Mangione did a shouts at a reporter in the courthouse. Mangione shouts towards reporters after judge schedules his state trial for June 8th, months ahead of his federal proceeding. The alleged assassin has also pled not guilty to the high-profile shooting on a Midtown sidewalk, sat quietly in his tan uniform until the end of the hearing when he shouted at reporters as officers escorted him out. It's the same trial twice. 1 + 1 = 2. This is double jeopardy by any common sense, Mangione shouted, according to the report from the New York Post. Now, guys, this is the part where I really think that the justice system puts us in a situation where we have to lie. I don't know if that makes sense or not. Because if you go in and say, I'm guilty, so how do you plead to the charges? This is a pre-trial. And how do you, this is your arraignment. How do you plead to these charges? Guilty, Your Honor. Did it. The problem is they make you go in and you have to do not guilty. And the problem is that when you do not guilty, that you're already lying. You're already in contempt. And I don't know if I don't believe that that's the way that it should be set up. I don't think we should have to set forth a plea to be charged with a crime. Now, if you are saying, do you admit to these crimes? No. Okay, then we'll have to hold over for trial. Okay. And if I plead not guilty, then if I am guilty, then I'm lying. That's perjury, isn't that not? Guys, I don't know. I just think that I think we could go back and retool a lot of our justice system. I think it really could do some better. Hey, what's up, fam? Who's feeling amazing like a weight was shifted? Oh, Kelly Wolf is excited today. Dave Glovins here as well. Appreciate it, Dave. Good to see you. So this is I look at this observation of things. I look at how all this is all coming down, and I wonder, I'm like, guys, listen, okay, are we... Anyway, these people out there doing all this stuff, I think that we need to slow this whole system of education and judiciary and all the other stuff. I think we need to slow a lot of this down. I think we've gotten ourselves in kind of a bad way. I don't know. I think our society needs to do some things and needs to do some toilet flushes on things. And I think the judicial system really needs to be honest with themselves for a minute. Can we do that? I don't think that's a problem. Anyway. Going on here about the news of the day. Now, today is Friday, so I don't know how long we're not going to put in an hour and a half into the show. We'll see how far it goes. AOC, I guess she's now becoming an educator. Democrat Representative AOC was a keynote speaker at a town hall in Queens in New York on Thursday. During the town hall, AOC announced plans to help with training sessions to obstruct ICE agents and dox agents amid an immigration crackdown. Wait, isn't that a crime? Can we talk about that for a second, guys? Can we talk about how AOC is training people to obstruct? Isn't that obstruction of a federal agent and their in the course of their duty? Doxing people? Isn't that again another crime or no? Am I wrong on this one? Guys, I don't know. Everything else is illegal. Every god dang thing else in our whole life is illegal, and this isn't. Everything we do is illegal. AOC told her constituents that she voted against a $1.2 trillion government funding bill that allocated funds for DHS for 2 weeks. I did not vote for this. I voted no. Jesus Christ. Do these people ever listen to their own sound bites? AOC encouraged her constituents to keep an eye on ICE activities in their neighborhoods and announced plans to train so-called legal observers, knowing things you can do legally to observe, to film, to take notes without being deemed as impeding law enforcement. Now, wait, is she impeding or is she not impeding? We have upcoming teach-ins with Hands Off New York. Hands Off New York. Don't shoot, hands up. So we will be doing that jointly in our community. So Hands Off NYC. AOC brought up the ICE-involved fatal shooting of an anti-ICE agitator, Renee Good and Alex Peretti, referring to their murders, their deaths at murders. They're murdered. They were murdered. That man attacked that ICE agent, and he was murdered for his efforts. That woman drove her car towards an ICE agent, and she was murdered for her efforts. I don't think that's how she said it, but we are seeing an escalation of ICE violence across the nation. Right. So, yeah. She's a real piece of work. What else has she got here? Oh, AOC's party, the Bernie-backed far left, could win Dem nomination to replace moderate Sherrill. It's AOC's party now. Bernie-backed far left could win Dem nomination to replace moderate Sherrill in New Jersey. Okay. All right. Well, let's see. Whatever the case is, Majaji overperformance could either be a case of radicals. Oh, yeah, this is... Guys, I don't know. Unless we get the SAVE Act going in this country and get this whole thing under control with our elections, it doesn't matter. This is all screwed off. Brenda's here. She says, hello, Jim. And we have Linda Millikamp. What's up, Lyenda? Lynenda. Anyway, so Linda, thank you so much for being here. Daniel Whitmore, what states need to follow Florida with the HALO law? If anyone gets within 25 feet of an officer during an arrest or stop, they will be arrested and charged with obstruction. Well, I don't see that. I don't see a problem with that. Really. So, all right. Let's else what we got here. Murals. There's a lot of stuff out there. A lot of this is really, kind of basic stuff. I want to go over the stuff with Epstein's access to the Rothschilds. For years, it's been known how late. By the way, Jeff E. is not dead. Jeffy's not dead. Jeffy is not dead. Jeffy is not dead. Jeffy is not dead. Jeffy is not dead. Prince is not dead. Michael Jackson's not dead. I don't know if Elvis is still alive. He's probably not. He's somewhere in his 90s now. If he is, Kennedy's still alive. Not the one that was in the car that got shot by his driver. But again, guys, there are a lot of these people. I'm telling you, they're in witless location. Charlie Kirk is not dead. Jeff E. is not dead. I guarantee. They're coming back as state's evidence, and they're going to nail these bastards to the wall. We'll watch. You watch. So now that the new 3 million plus document released from the U.S. Department of Justice, the extent to which Epstein was capable of articulating with these powerful figures is being laid bare. To begin with, sorry guys, I gotta stop. To begin with, we have none less than Aaron de Rothschild, head of the family-owned Edmund de Rothschild Swiss private bank. Her name appeared more than 4,400 times. That is exactly 3,400 more than Trump. Okay. The members of the powerful family have been found to have exchanged dozens of emails with the disgraced financier. By the way, the Rothschilds were giving him $25,000 a month, $25 million a month, if I remember right. Is it $25 million a month or $25 million a year? They were giving him $25 million a year just because they met with him. Yeah. I have plans never to die. So far, it's going according to plan, says Daniel Whitmore. There you go. There you go. That's how you do it. Sarah's here. What? She says, what the no vest? Well, it's Friday, Sarah. Some days we just take a day off. We do a little Friday. Last week I had my sweater on. I had my big Lebowski sweater on from the dude. But anyway, nobody thought that was great, did they? How come we haven't gone after Prince Andrew? Dave Glevin asked. Well, Dave, they have. He has now been moved out of his residence. They've turned his money off. They turned his status off. This is how they do it with the elites. It's more of like a soft fire. They slowly walk you towards the door. They get rid of you a little at a time. But anyway, yeah, that's the whole thing. So this is, again, he had multiple meetings during a period of more than 5 years before his arrest and jailing Arian de Rothschild. Okay, yeah, that's Ariane. So this is she was doing this, like, she was killing it. I don't know, guys. Her and old Epi, old Jeffy, they were killing it. So they were both, Jeff and Arian were ecstatic about buying up cheap Ukrainian assets after the Soros takeover, the Soros coup in 2014. They knew that they were going to be overthrowing the government, and they knew they were going to installing their own person, and that's why Jeff was at Zelensky's inauguration, is because that's how he got put in. Oh, guys. I just continue on. The WEF is conducting an independent review into the relationship. Brenda said she had been completely unaware of Epstein's past and criminal activities and would have declined any invitation or communications had he known. I recognize that I could have conducted a more thorough investigation into Epstein's history, and I regret not doing that. Brindy. The first dinner, the diplomat and business leaders at Epstein's New York townhouse took place in 2018. So in 2018, he was still having influential people at his house. Like, what are we doing? Oh, Ruth from North Denham, good to see you. She says, hi, Jim from Branson. Mo, what's up? Live me some Branson. And then there's Brian over there at on Rumble. Say hi to Brian on Rumble, everybody. Say hello. But guys, this is kind of crazy that this stuff. I'm just giving you parts and pieces of these messages and these different parts of the story. But what I'm pointing out to you is that how this guy just, like the WEF, the World Economic Forum, with Fink is now having an investigation, but yet Fink, isn't he the one that was in charge of JP Morgan Chase, who was sued for hundreds of millions of dollars and paid out all these millions to the victims for having handled the money exchanges for the sexual misconduct of Jeffy and his buddies? Oh, wait, no, that's State Street, BlackRock, and Vanguard. Not J.P. Morgan Chase, even though those three who Fink is ahead of, he is the head of those three, but he also owns a controlling share in J.P. Morgan Chase. See what I did there? Yeah, I was wrong, but I wasn't, because it just loops right back in. It really does. This is crazy, guys. This whole thing with the Jeffy stuff is literally making it, I don't know. Again, they said that it'll be tough for them to walk down the street. Yeah, absolutely, guys. It's getting bad. It's getting worse. So, I don't know. I think I don't think that this Jeff E thing is, I don't think this is it. I think this is like the speeding ticket to what we're getting ready to come across. I really do. I really do. I really think that I think a lot of what we're seeing here is the speeding ticket. It has nothing to do with this is nothing. This is nothing, guys. Everything you're seeing from the human eugenics, the mechanical bio connections, all these different things. I'm telling you right now, guys, I really do think that this is just the tip of the iceberg. And I think Trump has played both sides of this. Oh, you guys are still interested in the Jeff E files? Well, I didn't even think about that anymore. Right. But when are we going to get to George Clooney? When are we going to get to Uncle Barry? When are we going to get to Big Mike? When are we going to get to the big ones? See, I don't think, guys, I think we're missing something still. I think that there's something else out there. Remember, we've got George Clooney and Uncle Barry. We've got them on a boat together with two little Filipino girls, it looked like. See, this is the problem with this, guys, is that there's a lot more coming. How is Evansville, Indiana mentioned? I've been warned not to open. As you know, it has been possibly Heather was sold since she was a CI working with James Hendricks, HPD, during turned FBI. And you know the story about eyewitnesses with the business in South America. Heather confronted the judge who signed off on the search warrant the night of the deal's suspicious death about underage girls and prostitution. We know what this eyewitness and KSP told us is not what happened at all on Newburgh Beach, August 26, 1995. Read this after. Oh, unless you want to. Well, Sarah, you got to put the read this after if you want to. Not let me read it all out, and then hey, Sarah. We need to know about these things, and I don't think it's. Dave Glevin says, "Isn't Larry Fink the head of BlackRock?" Yes, he is. So, Sarah, I'll read any of this stuff. I want it out there. I want to talk about the things where we're seeing the corrupt judges, we're seeing the police officers, we're seeing the turnaways, the walkaways, the omissions, right? Daniel Whitmore says it gets worse or just more apparent. Yeah. I see what you did there. Yeah. I think that's right. I think that there is a more, this is more of really, we're just starting to digest it more. Now, I have seen a lot of, there's one of my favorite people. I will tell you that I see, this whole thing is coming apart, but I don't believe that we are at the top yet, or we're at the biggest part of this. There are too many things when we are having to even having to adjust our mentality about it. We're having to adjust ourselves about this. We're having to look at things differently, and we're having to rearrange even I'm looking at things differently. A lot of things I I think I even said this in the past shows. I think I said that, I hope only half of this is right. I think I've said that. I think it's like we're talking about things like I said, even if half of this is right, guys, this is horrible. Even if a quarter of this is right, it's horrible. And I think we were talking about the trafficking and the human sacrifice and the eating of flesh and all the other stuff. I think the video of Epstein doing this with his mouth going like this because he sent that video to a doctor, I think they put that in there because they wanted us to see that he was having inflammation from consuming too much human flesh, too much human meat. By the way, let me look that up real quick. There's a name for it. I don't remember what it is real quick, but I'm going to ask Gronk so we can get through this. What is the name of the condition or disease or effect on the human body from eating human flesh or meat? So this, again, I've told you guys, AI is nothing but a really great search engine. It's an elaborate search engine that's all. There's people like, oh, I've got my AI trading stocks. Okay, cool. You've had to do a lot of work to get AI to be able to do that, and you had to make sure and do a lot of explaining in ways that you really weren't prepared for. And this is taking quite a while. I think I could have found this faster on DuckDuckGo. Really? Thinking. It's thinking. The main disease, it's called Kuru, a rare, incurable, and fatal neurodegenerative disorder caused by infectious prions, misfolded proteins. It belongs to the group of diseases known as transmittable spongiform encephalitis, TSE. Okay. Kuru was transmitted through endocannibalism, a ritual funerary practice among. Okay, we're talking about people who actually eat this on a certain island in the Caribbean. Eating cooked human muscle or other tissue is not inherently more dangerous than eating comparable animal meat in terms of bacteria, parasites, and blah, blah, blah. But the brain poses a unique prion risk. No other named diseases is exclusively tied to human cannibalism in the same way. General health risks include bacterial, viral infections, hepatitis, HIV. Oh, shut the fuck. I hate when they do this. Kuru remains the clearest historical example of human disease directly caused by consuming human tissue. So Kuru, Kuru. And one of the side effects, or one of the effects of it, is your mouth, or where you'll have different infections on the face, and it looks like you have Edward put it out there, Kuru. Yeah, Kuru. So, ugh. Maggie says Hillary has it. What? Look at you guys. Miss Grits is out there. I mean, you guys all knew what Kuru was before Hey, how come you're a bunch of weirdos knowing what human meat consumption disease is called? Huh? I didn't know that. Anyway, well, all right. Well, that's kind of a weird thing. So Kuru is what it's called, and I think that video, I don't know if you've seen the episode or the video of Epstein. He's like this, and he's going like this, and he's doing all these facial contortions. I think he was sending a video to a doctor or to someone else, going, "Hey, what the hell's wrong with my mouth?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, you were eating those kids." Yeah. Mm-hmm. What in the heck did my chicken lay? I think if I cracked it, a 6-month-old chicken will pop out. Yeah, that's, by the way, if you guys have, we are all AIs. Oh, there you go. Thanks, Glovin. Dave Glovin said, nobody's real. They're all just AIs. Well, that's not fair. I thought you guys were real people. I want to be a real boy. Anyway, yeah, by the way, if you guys want to see weird stuff that you think that eggs come out the same way every time, as a chicken owner, I will tell you, I don't know if I own the chickens or they own me, or I'm an idiot, but as a chicken owner, eggs come in varying sizes from the same chicken in color and texture, double yolks, and no shell. Have you ever seen an egg with no shell? Did you know that's a possibility? That an egg will be born only with the embryonic sac, no hard shell coating on the outside. Those actually do happen. First time I saw it, it freaked me out. What in the world is this space goo? Oh, it was so crazy the first time I saw that. It's Friday, Facebook Americans, says Dave. Daniel Whitmore says, actual intelligent, real AI. Oh, well, hi, actual intelligent. Nice to meet you. All right. Well, this is when we talk about the Jeffy stuff, we talk about all these different things going on. We can just go ahead and just start putting into this that it's getting worse. Now, by the way, real quick, I don't know if you guys actually saw this morning, but there was an absolute kind of shocker. I did not have this on my bingo card for a Friday morning at like 8 a.m. that Pam Bondi, Janine Pereiro, whatever her name is, I always forget how to say her last name, and Cash, I don't know what's going on, Patel, they got up and said that they arrested the number one leader of the Benghazi attack. And my question is that the white plane that they flew him in on, by the way, our government owns a shit ton of Cessnas, by the way. They own a lot of Cessnas. So if you guys think you see these white jets flying around, a lot of times they're just your government planes. Every general has his own Cessna for his staff and for him to be flown around in. Every general, brigadier general to 4-star general, has their own plane assigned to them. Yeah. Anyway, this guy's getting out of a white plane, and the guys are military. You know, they got their flak jackets on, they got their headgear, they got their ears on, they got the goggles going, they got the whole thing, and gloves, and they look like they're going in to attack. You know, they're going in to bang down doors in Benghazi, but in Baghdad, right? And this guy gets off the plane, and he's got a clean-shaven face. Like, see, I'm not clean-shaven. I got a little stubble going here, right? It's Friday, right? But this guy is clean. This guy got arrested, okay? And is in handcuffs. He got arrested in handcuffs on an airplane, and he's all clean-shaven. So, yeah, Dave Globin, Evergreen Air. Oh, yeah, there you go. So, I'm watching this guy get off of the plane, and then they put him, he walks off the plane, then they put him on a gurney, then they put a blanket on him in the gurney, and it's cold, his breath is showing, and he's shivering, and then they put him in an ambulance. Why is it that we are always putting people in ambulances to escort them around a lot, and gurneys and stuff? Is there something I don't know about in this whole thing? Terrence Williams says Benghazi and Clinton's supposed to speak. Oh, yeah. Hey, Curly May, good to see you. Curly May, our Canada girl up there, she's here. Now, a couple things. Stephanie Morrow, the girl who sent me the get well card and the postcard. Remember, you guys, I need to get postcards so I can read about them in the beginning of the show. So nobody's been sending them. She sent me the Irish cookbook, but she said that she's sorry she's been missing us on the show. It is like nighttime there for her, so it's like in the middle of the night, so she doesn't always get to hang out. So late noodle whip. Well, hell yeah, Curly May, you're getting whooped. You're gonna get whooped in a way you'll never forget. I'm gonna discipline you, boy. I'll tell you what. Anyway, Brenda says she goes, yeah, my son, he's in aviation. A lot of people don't know that. Yeah. So my whole thing with this is that I see a guy who's this guy that showed up in an airplane from another part of the world, like somewhere not in America. Maybe he was in America. Hell, I don't know. Maybe he got over here in the whole Biden excursion. Maybe he was living here. He's like in L.A. He's hanging out. He's eating tacos. He's like, hey, man, I like this taco stuff. Maybe that's what was happening. He just happened to have a good clean shave when they picked him up. I don't know, but it just seemed highly sus that a dude with white hair and a little chin fuzz right here, little soul patch effect on the old tip right here, nice and clean. Just cleaned it all, shaved up. Yeah, 444 on the clock. 444. Okay, Curly, we're gonna stop that. Those are for private messages. Oh, guys. Now, if you guys are going to watch the Super Bowl on Sunday, now I don't have a dog in the fight. I think, honestly, I've never cared about the Patriots, and I really never liked them because of Tom Brady. I don't like Tom Brady now. I don't think he's that articulate. I don't think he's that sports-minded. I don't think he's a great quarterback. I don't give a shit what you say. I don't care how many Super Bowl rings you shove up his ass. I don't think he's that great. I think he had a great set of circumstances, and he made the best of it. Now, does that mean that I think he needs to be commentating all the time and he needs to be on every damn TV all the time? No. I'm done. But if you're going to watch the Super Bowl this weekend and you're going to do that, I would highly recommend not watching Bad Bunny for halftime. And I would highly recommend that you don't watch the TP USA one. Now, that is my personal opinion. You do what you want. If you want to watch the TP USA halftime show with Kid Rock and everybody else, I don't care. That's fine. Do you, boo. But my point is that there's a lot of things with TP USA that are not going right now, and there's some clarity and some other things that are happening, and I do think that we're going to find out about some honeypot and some other stuff that happened, okay? I think it's coming out because there are connections to Jeffy too. So I guess, it's bad, guys. A lot of our heroes, a lot of things. And, you know, I was a big TP USA fan. I thought they really had their shit together. I thought things were going to be great. But anyway, I would not watch either halftime show. I'm not going to watch the Puppy Bowl or whatever it is. I'm not going to do all that. But, guys, I don't give two shits about Seattle. I was never impressed with Seattle. I've been to Seattle. I haven't been to Seattle. I've been to Portland. I haven't been to Seattle. But I don't care about the Seattle Seahawks. I never really cared about them. I don't think they're a thing. I don't. Sorry. Do I care about New England? Again, don't care. Do I care about the NFL? Not really. I think it's all a bunch of bullshit. I think Roger Goodell is a piece of shit. I think he is an arrogant person who has decided to make sure that he is pulling out as much money as possible out of that business, and it's the world's largest charity, so they don't have to pay taxes. It must be nice to run a multi-billion-dollar-a-year corporation and never have to pay a dime of it out to the government. It's nice, isn't it? Gotta love it. Says Edwards, it's me, Rhonda. I'm usually on Facebook. Nice. So thank you for being over there on Rumble. Thank you, Pat. Nope, NFL it sucks. Colin Kaepernick and is the biggest day for trafficking. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And yes, Colin Kaepernick did ruin a lot of things that the NFL could have hidden. And I don't like the whole thing about end racism and all that other stuff. We didn't have racism before Barry. We don't have racism after Barry. And I'm just tired of playing these games for these elites. And I think it's time for us all to really stop. All right, guys. Well, that's going to be about it for me today. I have had a great week with you guys. I've enjoyed all the different conversations. I've enjoyed seeing you guys. It's been great having you guys on the show. Awesome, awesome stuff. Please, if you guys watch the football, do not listen. Vote with your views. Vote with your money. If you're going to watch TV, make sure you're watching things that you want to go towards a view count. Just like when you watch my videos, I would wish that you would send them out or play them out long form on your computer, even if you're not sitting there. Just let them play in the background. I would love for you to do that for me because those are view counts I get. And if you're sitting there watching the Super Bowl and you're giving them a view count, well, that's on you. The same idea if you're going to sit there for the halftime show and leave the TV turned to that channel during the halftime show or you click away, you're going to teach the NFL a lesson. You follow what I'm saying? Now, I don't give two shits about Seattle. I don't give two shits about New England. I think they're both about the biggest failures in the NFL as far as I can tell. They kind of dumb luck their way into the Super Bowl, and there was a lot of other teams that tried real hard. Now, do I believe that those teams that tried real hard were going to get there because Roger Goodell wanted them there? I believe that Roger Goodell writes a script. I believe that he wants certain people and certain things in a certain area. It's just how it works. So anyway, we'll have to see how it goes. It's going to be in San Francisco. There has been a lot of things talked about. Oh, San Francisco's all cleaned up now. San Francisco's a great place to live, and San Francisco's so clean. Guys, I was in San Francisco in 2015 when we went for the national championship, and I will tell you, it wasn't clean in 2015. And I don't know how they got it cleaned up in the last couple of years, but they got a homeless problem. And maybe there's not as much poop and needles on the streets as there used to be, but anyway, I'm not playing that game. All right, guys, that's going to be a bit about it for me. It's been awesome seeing you guys. Remember the 10% we do for our neighbor, community, city, county, state, the federal government. The more you do for them, the less they have to do for you. Learn how to be selfless and not so damn selfish. The world will be a far, 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 far better place, right? If we're all doing more for the world around us, the world gets to be better. 8 billion people get up tomorrow and say, I'm going to be 10% nicer to everybody around me. This world becomes an amazing place in an instant, right? Anyway. Hold the line, hold fast, do not give up, do not give in. We'll win, I promise. I make promises I can't keep, guys. You've always been the answer out there. Remember that Constitution, it limits the government, but never limits you. You have always been the authority. All right, guys. Well, that is going to be about it for me. I'm going to get out of here. Awesome, awesome comments. Good to see you, Curly May. Maggie, Curly May, I'll expect those private messages. Jeanette was here. Brian was here. Brenda, Terrence Williams, Edward was here killing it. Lisa Fernander, are you going to come to our float trip in May? Also, we got, obviously, Dave Glevin was here. I don't know if I said your name, Davey, or not, but I am glad you're here, buddy. And, Courtney Allen, we didn't get to hear much from her after that. And who else was in here? What's it? Daniel Whitmore. All right. Guys, thank you so much for everything you guys are doing out there. It's been awesome seeing you this week. And I'm Jim Price, the Jim Price Show Daily Update. You guys all be good to each other out there. I'll see you guys on Monday. Bye-bye.